Hey guys, Keith Duplessie here with P&S Detail Products. I'm in Sydney's shop in Boise, Idaho, and we're going to do a cabinet version of the Chemtrol system install. So what I want to do first is just walk you through a couple of things you as a distributor are going to need to install one of these units. So first thing is you need the top secret Chemtrol unit. So this is the first one we're going to send out. You'll note it's got a bag with all the parts and pieces in it, so when you unpack that, you'll have all those. We'll go through that when we do the actual install. It even has keys to the cabinet. And then you're going to want to make sure it's got everything in it. So there's a mounting rail. We'll get to that in a minute. And then there's the cabinet itself. And that's beautiful. So it comes with most everything you need to mount it to the wall and to plumb it up for the chemical. But it doesn't come with a couple of essential things that you need to actually do the mounting. Number one, doesn't come with a hose to feed it with water. So this does require a water line hose. Good old, this is just a 6-foot extension for a hose bib. If you are tying to their hose bib, but they're running the pressure washer off the same line, you're gonna need one of these. Just a splitter. And go good quality, get a nice brass one, heavy duty with good washers on it, and have the shutoffs. And you'll just mount this right in here, and we'll show you that in a second. And then you can split off the line, because you want to have constant water to your Chemtrol unit, but you maybe sometimes don't want to have constant water to either your wash line or your pressure washer feed line. So if you're going to add this into a shop, you need at least those two things. You can get them at any local hardware store. Easy to do. All right, install. You need a few other tools. A stud finder is great, and no, I'm not going to do the joke, but we're going to mount this on the wall here. So we've kind of planned a space for it. So some general parameters when we do this, we want to make sure that if we're hitting a stud, we don't use the sleeves for the mounts. So there's actually a sleeve, so if you're going to plain drywall and you don't have anything behind it, that anchor will block it in. But if you're going into a stud, you can just drill straight into it with the screw. Speaking of that, you're going to need a drill. So if you're going into drywall, no big deal. You're going to need a drill, and you're going to need a 5/16 drill bit if you're going to set the anchors. If you're not setting the anchors, then you can go with probably a 3/16 drill bit just to drill your pilot holes to put the screw straight into the stud. If you're going into concrete, you need a masonry bit and a hammer drill. I don't have my hammer drill with me because I knew I was going into the drywall today. And you need a screwdriver or a drive tip, and it's just a number 2 Phillips head is all you need. Again, things you want to bring, hey, you got to have one of these. Nobody wants the cabinet put up crooked, so have a level. Little bullet level is easy to do. And have a tubing cutter, because we're going to cut the tubing on this. We'll show you that in a little bit too. You can use a knife, but it really gives you jagged edges and just doesn't look professional. So I recommend a little $10 tubing cutter from, again, any hardware store will work. Let's talk about mounting real quick, and then we'll kind of get into layout and setup on our next segment of the video. Tape measures are useful. And most drums are 36 inches tall. So if we were doing a smaller unit, or we were doing this in a shop where somebody's trying to connect drums up to it, we've got to be at least 36 inches above the floor, because that's drum height. Drum height's usually 35 inches for a 55-gallon drum. So we want to mount that, and we want to give ourselves a little clearance. Now, it's really comfortable to walk up and push a button at about this level. But as you guys can see, Sydney's shop doesn't really allow us that. So we're going to mount this right even with the line. The button will be about my eyeball height, and she'll be able to fill her bottles pretty easily. We have 2 considerations with any of the Chemtrol units. One is filling a bottle. That's easy. It's just below the buttons on the dispenser. We'll show you that when we kind of get set up. But the other thing is filling buckets. So that's the other thing about the Chemtrol. Sydney doesn't put anything here because she doesn't want it to interfere with her hose, which is great because when she goes to fill her wash bucket, we want to have the space on the floor that we can set that. So just some considerations for setup and getting this put in. So I'm going to do some quick measurements, mark it up, and show you the layout, and we'll show you how to install it. It's really simple, but a little pre-planning and a few extra things that you need to have that aren't part of the kit just to get you set up. So we'll see you in just a minute. The easiest way to do this is drill your center pilot hole and So here we are. I've gone ahead and mounted up what is the cleat for the back of the unit. So the first thing I did is I just measured up from the base of the unit. The unit's 29.5 inches tall. It's 1 inch from the top of the cabinet to the center of the screw, so pretty simple measurements. Centered it on the wall where I wanted it, and this is what holds the bulk of the weight. Keep in mind on this cabinet unit, the unit probably weighs 10 pounds, and then you're going to put 4 gallons in it. So you're hanging 50 pounds of weight on the wall. So you really do want to secure this well. There's 2 more screw holes at the bottom of this we're going to put in. But the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and just hang the unit on the cleat. And so we just bring it up and catch it in there. There we go. And it just nests in on the top, and it does snap in. So once it's in, the bulk of the weight is being held. So that's the basis of it. Now you guys can see I've got 2 more screw holes to put down here. I will go ahead and just mark those, and then I'll drill them, put my anchors in, and then I'll set those. So just so you can see the cleat goes in, and you can see it's nice and level, and it hangs tight, and that's what we're looking for, because we are going to put 4 1-gallon bottles in here, plus the unit, like I say, weighs about 10 pounds by itself. So that's 50 pounds of weight hanging on the wall. You really need to make sure you use all 5 of the anchor points to hold it into place. So I'm going to go ahead and just mark these 2 right here, drill them in, and hang it up, and then we'll talk about kind of the more important part, which is the chemical line setup and how you can use this unit efficiently. So we'll see you in a minute. So we're about to hang this on the wall, and one of the things we want to do is this hose runs in this groove and mounts here. So before we hang it up kind of for our final time, and we don't really need to do much more than just tighten this in, if I'm doing it right, just so it's in place when we get there. So that's all we got to do. I'll hook this up, but then we can go ahead and mount it. Okay, so we are at the point of, we got it mounted on the wall. We've got our hose run. We haven't put any water to it yet, but one of the things I find really useful to kind of map out my success is I pre-labeled. So I have a little P-Touch labeler I use here. The unit does come with little white sticker labels that you can write on and felt, but this is a little cleaner to me, so this is what I do. So we've already plotted, planned, and put in our tubing for the gallon fills or the gallon draws. So it really is pretty simple. Measure it from the bar band down to the door that you're going to put it in, and just cut it to the right angle. I always do a little chip cut on the bottom, that way it doesn't suck to the bottom of the jug and go dry. And then you just select your tip. So one of the things I always say, everybody knows me well enough to know, I say RTFM, read the free manual. So this is our manual. There's a tip chart right here. And there's 2 dilution ratios. There's one for diluting into the little quart bottles, and there's one for the high flow, which is the bucket fill. So the left side here, you're going to use the 1 gallon per minute or the quart bottle fill ratio. So we've set our ratios for our products, and in here we're going to use the True View and the leather cleaner and the ViroClean and the carpet bomber. So we've set up the cabinet to take all 4 of those. The last thing I got to do is just connect the last 2. So here it is. I've already got my tip in, and the nice thing with these little tips, you get 2 bags, and they're color coded, so they're easy to figure out, and they have a little bar bend on them. You just push them into the opening. We'll do that on our next item. I've already got the tip in here, so I just run it from, I'm going to the bottom cabinet, and they're really neat. If Sydney can come in and take a look, there's little holes drilled in the back of these shelf plates, so you can run your tubing without it getting in the way. I just run it up, pull it through here, and I connect it. And then just to kind of show you, we'll go ahead and look at our cover, and let's get the vinyl and leather cleaner, Kyle. And that's our first product, and it goes in the upper left cabinet because that's where we've got it set to go. And it's really simple. We just go ahead and take this. This is our vinyl and leather cleaner in the upper cabinet, and we just run our tube into it, and there we go. And then our next one would probably be the carpet bomber. So great product here to just stick in the cabinet. These bottles are a little snug when we put them in. So I like to make sure I grab my tube before I start going in there, and you'll notice they fit a little snug, but they fit. And you can see what happened. I pulled out my tube when I went into the bucket. So we'll just slip her down in there, and Sydney's good to go. So it's all run, and then we just close that cabinet and lock the door. Cool thing is they come with 2 sets of keys, so if you lose one set, put the other set in your desk drawer. And we're all buttoned up here, we're ready to go. We can see how much product we have left in the gallons because they're opaque. It's a great deal. Let's talk about the gallon fill, or the 5-gallon bucket pull is normally what we're going to put here. These are for, say, filling 5-gallon pails like your wash soap. So in our case, I've set it up for Pearl. Pearl is a product that we're going to do a 128:1 dilution ratio, which is what we recommend. Someone come over to my handy dandy tip chart. 128:1 is the aqua, or the teal, and that is this little niblet right here. And the easiest way to work these out of the package is just pull it to a corner and rip the corner off. Okay, so I'm gonna take my tip, I'm gonna turn the unit, plug it in there, because this is the one that I want my Pearl to be on when the knob is switched to that angle. And then I'm going to do my tubing setup. So I've already done the tubing setup for this unit, and here it is. So the first thing is I take the lid off of the unit, drill a hole. This way I keep it nice and snug. It's a 3/8 inch hole, and boy, no debris is going to get in there and muck up my product. The next thing I do is I come down and I insert one of these, which is a one-way check valve. And the nice thing with this is as it pulls the product up, once it gets up past this point, it won't back bleed down. So you won't be trying to pull all the way through the tube every time. You'll only pull through the tube once, and then the product will stay in the tube. So you get good dilution ratio, accurate. Then I take 5 inches of tubing. I put the weight and what is the foot screen, and that just keeps the weight from falling off. Nothing worse than putting the weight on this thing without the foot screen, and it falls right off, and when you go in the bucket it doesn't stay. So this will help keep the hose at the bottom of the bucket, and it'll keep debris from getting into my lid. So I can just tighten this down. Nice part is when I come to replace product, I just take the lid off of the new product, take this lid, switch it over, tighten it down. I don't have to do this setup one time. So whatever you do, don't let them throw away your drilled out lid that's already set up. And so now my tube is ready. I'm just gonna slide this over in place. I have some vacuuming to do. I'll get this. So we're just gonna go through the bottom of the unit, and again through our little shelf plate. So we just pulled it through the bottom plate, and we can again work it up. And the nice thing is each shelf has enough holes for us to pull our tubing through if we want to do that. And I just bring it up and slip it over the barb, and now we're connected. So I want to show you guys how this stuff works. So we're going to go ahead and put some water to it. This is our bucket fill hose. As you can see, it's a little longer so we don't end up splashing. And this is our bottle fill. So we'll do a bucket real quick. Okay, so I put the lid back on just for demonstration purposes. Pearl is all hooked up, and you guys can see I pulled a little product through the line, but I'll leave the door open so you can kind of see what happens when we press the button. So first thing I do, I want to use my Pearl. I take the arrow, and these stop at 4 positions. So I'm going to stop on the Pearl. I'm going to make sure I'm aimed at my bucket. I'm going to go ahead and press the red button, and you guys will see that product through the Venturi valve will just pull it right up. And the product's pulled up, and now we're starting to get soap. And you can kind of see it get foamy here. And we are putting wash soap right into the bucket. It's ready to go, properly metered. When I turn it off, it drains out. Now, the cool thing here, if you don't want to have water or chemical there, you can just attach the little hook onto the bottom here. And then when you're done with it, It can just hang right here, or you can hook it wherever you want. I sometimes hook it right there just so it's out of the way. But either way, it's a nice setup. You just snap it in here and it's out of the way. Or if you want, you can leave it hanging. I don't prefer to leave it hanging, so, you know, I can just hook it up there and it's out of my way. So the same thing goes to the bottle fills. I don't know if we have an empty bottle here, Kyle. We can just do an empty bottle here. So we can just take our product, and this will take just a second to pull it through, but press the button and it'll fill our bottle with our ready to use chemical. And we fill it right up. And as you can see, we got nice sudsy liquid in here, and it smells good. So this is our interior cleaner, vinyl leather cleaner. So they're real easy bottle fill. It's the same concept on both sides. Simple to do. Once this is set up, the nice thing is you're just switching out jugs or pails of chemical, and it's done. Your dilution ratio is permanently set. Don't have any problems with dilution. You just walk up, hit the button, and fill it up. So it's a win for you guys. We're going to do another video, Sydney and I, here in a minute, and what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what products we put in here and why we did it, and what the new Chemtrol system is all about. So stay tuned for that. All right, so Sydney, we are wrapped up with mounting everything up and plumbing it in.
Looks awesome.
All our tips are in. Last thing to do is to put our cover back on. Now you'll notice we made this real easy for everybody. We have a little spray bottle for the bottle fill button, and we have a bucket here to say put the bucket fill. So
yeah,
pretty easy. Another cool feature here, guys, is there's a little lock. So when these are pushed in, there's spring resistance up there, but when they're pushed in, you can lock them. Now we wouldn't do that for the bottle fill, but if you're trying to fill a 5-gallon bucket, locking that thing for a little bit instead of standing there holding the button, it's kind of nice. So got a couple of catches here, and then it just will snap in down here. So we just want to make sure that when we put this in, we do line it up right at the top and then come down, and it's a little finicky, but not bad, and line up our buttons and then just snap it into place. There we go. No, we're not in the top. So there we go. We're in. And it's in. So we've already pre-labeled our buttons. Again, the left side is our bottle, the right side is our gallon or pail fill. We got a couple chemicals to do, and we want to talk about those, but as we had set up before, it's just dial-o-matic. So you want to pick your product. In this case, we'll put some brake buster out just to show it. And it pulls it right up, and here's pink brake buster. And we just turn it right off. So
awesome.
Real easy to use, and the hanger's all set up. So we have a couple products we still got to put in, the EnviroClean and the TrueView, and those are kind of new to a new product line for us. That matches the Chemtrol. So Sydney and I each have a bottle.
Awesome.
And you can see the new labels. So this will be part of a full set and full line of products. We're not going to tell you what they all are because they're coming in the coming weeks, and we'll have an announcement on those later. But these are great. They go right in the same size bottle. Some, like these two, are Pro Series products we've had for many years. But there are a couple of new ones coming out just specifically to go with the Chemtrol program. So we'll pop some lids off here and hook these up. All right, so we'll make sure we put them in the right place first of all. So EnviroClean goes up here on the top. We'll just plug her in and pop her in. And again, snug fit, so work them in a little bit and work your pickup tube down. You're all set, and then you ready?
Yeah.
All right, got a little glass cleaner in there. Now we've actually set these up based on what the dilution ratio for the back of the bottle says. So Sydney's all set, and we just close our case up and lock it. If I can get it locked.
There you go.
Here's keys to your new Ferrari of chemical distribution.
So cool.
Right next to the Ferrari that we just got done cleaning.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, awesome. That's so great. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to use it, and I think it's going to make the product usage much better and just just much more efficient.
Plus, it kind of looks cool.
It looks very cool.
So,
Very cool.
and
Yeah.
we can hide all our stuff behind here in the curtain,
Yep.
and
Yep.
nobody ever sees it.
So awesome.
There you go. We'll see you soon.